Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Not yet. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Good Times, Great Movies. There are two people having a good time with great enough movie, great movies.
That's the first time you stuttered while saying that. Sometimes you'll laugh, and sometimes you will draw it out, but never before have you almost said ghost while we're talking about that.
It's my life force, man. It's my life force taking over. Anyway, there's two of us here. There's myself, Jamie Lorello, and there's DP McCambridge on the other end of this life force here. And I know I keep saying it over and over again because it's like subtly just letting you know what we're doing.
Unlike other podcasts where sometimes we get 20 minutes in and we're like, I don't
what are
think
they
we said
talking
the
about?
name of the movie.
Yeah.
All right, so back in Mission Control, all these British guys are kind of upset because they're like, well, you know what? We haven't really heard from that.
Well, it's 30 days later. It's been 30 days, it says.
They haven't had communication.
And there's been no communication. So they send a second ship, the Colombian, out to check on the ship and the Churchill and find out.
The ship names down. Boy.
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
I did, yeah. I thought they were going to be more important. I mean, the Churchill they mention a lot because it's the ship that. What happened on the Churchill? Tell us what happened. You must tell us.
It's like, all right, you ready for another flashback? Everybody?
Exactly. Here we go.
How sweaty am I going to be in this one?
Oh, he's very sweaty. It's very nerve-wracking when he beats that one woman up. Oh my God, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Everybody's sweaty in this movie. Everybody's very snotty, too.
Like boogery?
Yeah, like. I guess it's just upper lip sweat, but it just looks like snot's running down their face a lot of times.
Well, it's at one point there's fires everywhere. It's very hot.
Oh, you think that's what it is?
Yeah.
Not making out with a space vampire.
Wow.
You're like, I don't know. There's all sorts of little fires here. This is way too much.
It's way too sweaty.
She
never sweats, which is kind of, she's always just perfect.
She's perfect. The guy said it.
Yeah, yeah. Something's happening to me, he says. Can't help it. But yeah, when the Colombian finds out, oh, I like it. Houston, we have a problem. There's a fire. The one black guy in the whole movie says.
Right.
And we never see him again.
We never see him again. I was like, this would have made it so much easier for me to keep track of characters.
Yeah, yeah. But the Colombian goes aboard the Churchill and finds that the people inside are all burnt to a crisp. And it looks like there was a fire set inside of the ship.
Yep.
And
everybody's dead except for these three gorgeous specimens.
Yeah, inside their little casings, naked and impeccable. And they retrieve what is like the black box, I guess, some tapes and stuff.
Yeah.
From the ship.
So now we go to the European space place, let's call it.
I call it British headquarters.
Hello, let's go.
Welcome back to the British headquarters, where we're going to get some more information and meet some, I don't know, scientists of some sort.
Do you think that we should dissect that woman? Does anyone have a problem with that? Everybody just sits around and they're like, whatever.
Well, I like too. Then they decide to do this, but then they I'm so ADD, I got distracted because the sunset's so pretty out there. I was like, oh, look how pretty. It's blue light. What's happening? No. Then the one guy who we kind of are with for a little while, he watches it in his office on a TV in like his office.
Yes,
he's watching this all go down.
But he's watching this, but also watching the news.
Yeah, yeah.
And I love how the news just gives us like common folklore because the newscast master's even like, back in the days of the ancient Greeks, they believed that comets
Oh,
were
yeah.
a bad omen of things to come. I'm like, this isn't a news story.
Yeah.
I know, I understand Halley Comet's a big deal, but you don't talk about the folklore mythology of comets during that brief news story. But it was important for us to hear this.
Yeah, we needed that information. Yeah.
So I guess while they're waiting to dissect her, wait, is that what it's called? Dissect? An autopsy.
Okay.
I mean, what is an autopsy?
Well,
if
you have
it's
to be
not a
dead,
dissection?
and she's not dead. So
Right, yes.
Either
And we see
way, examine.
yeah,
Let's say they're going to examine her. Examine her?
examine her by
Cutting her
killing
open.
her.
Well, they don't know. They don't know if she's dead or alive.
Well, right, yeah. The one guy's like, well, I would say yes if she's dead. Well, is she? I don't know. Okay. All right, great. So I guess they're getting ready for this. And then one of the guards in kind of a goofy, like, oxygen mask.
Again, what's with the weird
Really
masks? Like
'Cause it's
weird
like a
astronaut
box.
suits. Yeah.
It doesn't seem comfortable. Like, it doesn't
It's very
seem
awkward.
Like, you don't want to look through, like, little side panels and just get to see what's in front of your face.
Yeah.
Plus, it doesn't even really look like it's open all around. Like,
Not
I don't
very
think
protective.
it's doing anything.
Not very and he didn't wear it very long because he's
No, because the
mesmerized.
naked alien woman sits up.
Her eyes open first,
Right, yes.
and then she sits nakedly up, and
Sits nakedly up.
I think that was in the script.
I feel like that's something you would write in, like, an essay in high school or something. You're like, I don't know. I got to use an adjective, adverb? What is it? Who knows what nakedly is?
Help us out, listeners.
Yeah, give us a grammar lesson. Yeah, so she sits up, and this is where we see that she, like, totally
alive.
makes out with this dude.
Yeah, but she's a weird maker-outer. But I guess she's an alien. So how good can you make out when you're an alien?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't. Oh, was she a weird maker-outer?
Well, I mean, it's weird all around. Like,
There's a
Yeah.
lot of, like, yeah, okay, I know what you're saying.
yeah.
All right, you know what? Beggars can't be choosers.
No, I'm not saying. And now that I know her backstory, I really don't want to judge her make-out abilities. But
All right.
okay, but let's not talk about that because it weirded me out. Okay, but yeah, she wakes up and
It is like a weird moment where he's like, I could sexually assault this corpse and nobody would know.
oh yeah, he does before she wakes up. He's like, but again, I think it's because it's kind of her power, right? It's part of her
Right.
life force energy. Is that just her being around these men is they get not just aroused by her body, her perfection in that way, but she's emitting a frequency and energy to them that they are
Yes.
indescribably drawn to. Indescribably? No, that's not the word, but it's a very strong desire to be with her.
Well, can you describe
I
it?
did, so
I
I
would
don't.
say you
I
probably
wouldn't say
can't.
it's indescribable.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Because
gonna.
there are
I'm
times
gonna cross
where he's
that
like,
word out.
I felt love like you wouldn't even understand.
Yeah,
I'm like, all
it's
right,
intense.
This is really intense.
It's intense. Yeah.
Yeah. So the guy up in his office, the guy who I thought was the main character, is watching all of this. He's
Yeah.
like, well, I need to run through, well, how many doors? 80
gets-
doors?
yeah, he
Does he
goes-
run through?
He's very. There's
What
nobody
is
he
the
could call
layout
or
of
a
this
button
place?
he could push.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Why do you have to run through one glass door, another glass door? There's no hallway.
Well, and
to
how
go down
far
to
are
avoid
you?
this?
If you knew this was going to happen, why are you so far away from the action? Where's your
Right.
office in relation? How big is this building?
And why are you leaving one guard to watch
one
this
weak
space alien?
guard.
They really thought, because then we see the guys, and there's two guards on them. They
Yeah.
really are like, I don't know, one guard per alien. That's all we kind of.
And they don't even restrain them. Like, they're just laying there. So, like,
Nope.
what if and you don't know if they're dead or alive. Anyway, again, protocols. You should have checked.
Aliens, like
Yeah.
these are aliens.
You got
gotta
them
take
out
some
from-
sort of precautions.
Yeah, you would think.
You can't stick them in a building that's basically just made of glass.
Seriously.
I like it later when he's like, "Oh, she can't escape from here." Like, there's windows everywhere.
I like it when they. Okay, so she makes out with this guy, and then these
Yeah.
lightning sparks happen,
Yep.
and there's this electricity, and basically this guy gets burned up alive. He's like, right?
Yeah, he like deflates into like a skeleton with skin on
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I have to say, some of these effects it wasn't terrible.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
did. Like it was one of those things where I'm watching this going, oh, they'd have some goofy CG thing right now. And I love that it's like an actual puppet that's flailing
Yeah,
around.
yeah, yeah.
It was fun. Like it's nice to be like, oh, that guy who's about to make out with this like rubber corpse. Like there's something there. He's not
Yeah.
making out with like a tennis ball on a string or something like
Right.
that. Like they would do now, and they're like, I don't know. Imagine that it's a monster. Okay, I don't know how you act opposite that, but yeah, it was kind of cool to see this stuff. Other than the music, that's where the money went. I gotta say,
Yeah, yeah. Good effects, yeah.
I have a feeling.
Yeah.
And whatever Patrick Stewart commanded
Oh, right, right.
for his 2 days of shooting, probably.
Very passionate, though. Very passionate.
We're an hour in when he shows up, and I was like, "Whoa, we're."
That's
over
why I
an
took it
hour
down. I was
into
like,
a
did I
2-hour
just
movie."
see what I think I saw? Who I think I saw? But yeah, so sparks fly. She's definitely alive and awakened,
Right.
and
And then we think she's going to kill the guy who, was watching this in his office.
oh
So
right,
she
he
up to
comes down,
him.
yeah. And and she says to him, she's all sexy, and she says, "Use my body," in her little sexy way, and somehow he barely
First of all,
escapes.
Jamie, way to say it as sexy as possible. Use my body. Great.
Listen,
You're not too far off because it is like a weird echoey voice.
yeah.
So she life forces this dude, but doesn't kill him.
No. And
'Cause
he's
now we're
definitely
introduced-
weak. He's got a headache. He's not doing
Yeah.
his best afterwards, but she spares him. But she
Right.
still escapes. And then there's a call out to the security in the building, and they're like, the naked alien girl cannot leave the complex. Like, that's like, follow the weird naked
It
Indian.
really is. Like these guards
don't-
get a phone call where it's like, oh, a naked woman's coming this way. Oh, they're having fun with us.
And they're like,
today."
no, that's not. Yeah, they. Yeah,
Like,
and then they
this would
see
be-
her, and they're like, holy fuck.
It was like, this would be the talk of the office. I
Yeah.
can't imagine you didn't hear about the naked alien that they brought in earlier.
Yeah, how'd you not
today.
know she was in there? But she is, and now she's on the loose.
Right.
And the security is supposed to be on it, like you said. They kind of laugh about it, but then she approaches them on the stairs, and
Does
she-
one guy offer her a candy bar?
yeah, he's
Like
like,
she's E.T. or
yes,
something?
he's like, come here, that's it. You can come and get it. You got it. I don't know what that's supposed to do, but doesn't she choke him basically with her eyes?
Yeah, she chokes him out like she's Darth Vader or something.
Yeah.
And then she like blasts people with lightning. She
Yeah.
doesn't kill these guys, which is weird. Like we see them all getting up later being like, oh, that was really rough.
Yeah,
And then she goes to a wall of windows, blows
smashes
them
it.
out,
Yeah.
and then she's loose in the London countryside.
And now I want you to know when she
British
blows out
countryside.
these windows and she's out, she just walks. She struts slowly and nakedly out into, and there she goes. There she
Yeah.
goes. She's escaped. She has escaped. Oh shit! We gotta find. Well, and now in the meantime, oh wait, are we there yet? Where
The detective, the inspector, shows up? Or what are we
How
talking
did
about?
she? Well, no, are we
You
in
wanna talk about
Texas
the-
yet? Where when his little shell comes down when
no.
Carlson
No, we're not
arrives?
there
No,
yet.
we're not there
No.
yet. Okay.
No, because we're just meeting the detective of this
Oh,
movie.
right, the investigators,
And this
yeah.
is where I was like, oh no, is this our hero? Because this is like a pasty, balding, curly-haired
Oh, yeah,
detective
yeah.
in like a sloppy raincoat or a sloppy, like you said, he doesn't have like the gravitas of
There's no
like a
pizzazz.
detective or an
Yeah.
inspector or whoever we would think is solving things because he kind of just runs around in this movie and follows the astronaut around and is like, oh, all right, well, let's just go do whatever you said.
He's
'cause I
even
guess-
creepy. Like when Carlson's accosting that redheaded woman later, he's like, "I'm a voyeur. I'll be a voyeur. It's not a problem."
That was one of the
Yeah.
weirdest things.
That's
I think
that
in
whole
this
scene
movie.
is very weird. When you talk about things that could be cut, I mean, I guess I get why it wouldn't. No, I don't get
Him
why.
just shaking her and yelling at her.
Like stripping her down violently and then just shouting in her face. That poor actress. She was older, I get it, than the naked one, but still. And why? Because we had, I don't know. We're not there yet. Let's get there. We're not even.
It's a very strange scene in
Yes.
a movie where I was like, well, how can this get any weirder? And then they did
Oh,
that,
it gets
and I went,
very much
this
weirder.
doesn't belong in this movie.
It's very another. But yeah, the investigator comes in. He's got all kinds of questions about how did she overwhelm you? What was so overwhelming about her? Why did she spare you your life then, but kill the others?
And this guy again, he's sweaty.
Yeah.
He looks exhausted.
Yeah.
He's sitting down, like swaying back and forth, smoking the whole time.
Yeah.
And finally, he's like, "Detective, listen, I gotta lay down."
Yeah,
Is it cool?
yeah.
Like,
He's like, "Can I
done
just
here?"
go? Because I don't feel so good. Whatever she did to me, it took some of my life force from me." And then there's the white-haired man. What he does?
This guy's a doctor.
Okay, he's a doctor.
And, yes, and he jumps to some wild conclusions too when he's like, "Well, I mean, basically, she's a energy vampire." Like, doctor, these are not clinical terms. And the detective's like, well, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Well, you know how real vampires feed off of blood." And I was thinking, real vampires aren't real. I don't know why you're explaining it this way to him. It would be like if somebody was like, "Well, how do birds fly?" And they're like, "Well, you know Superman." Like, it's a terrible way to explain something. But yeah, this guy is hilarious in this movie. Like, he's always one step ahead of everything.
Oh, yeah.
But never leaves his office.
No. Mm-mm. No, he's never in the mix of it. Well, he does get attacked at one point, kind of, but he's got the sword and he knows the things.
Yeah.
And we don't really
the fact
see
that he
the
has
attack.
a sword that he knows will kill vampires, and he's a doctor.
He's got a lot of
is
knowledge.
alarming.
He's got a lot of knowledge. Let's
You
put
think
it that way.
It's just a hobby of his.
Yeah. It's a hobby to have the knowledge.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm checking my notes to make sure we're not.
Also,
She's totally alien, and she's totally dangerous. Oh, that's what I wrote. I don't think that was said in the.
You don't think... Listen, in a movie where at one point a character goes, "And now she has clothes," it wouldn't be stupid if your line was in this. When he delivers that line, like it's the beginning of CSI and like some crazy music should start, I was like, is he upset that she has clothes? Is this a problem?
Oh, because now she's now she blends in a little more. She was a little stood out a little bit walking
wonderful.
around the park naked.
I also love how this detective is talking to these guys about everything that's been happening, and then he goes, "Hey, also you said there were 2 naked alien dudes.
Yeah, where's
Where
the
are they?"
dudes? Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh yeah, that could be a problem."
Yeah. Well, because they're being watched over by some soldiers, but then we find out that they are smart and they kill those soldiers and take over their
Yes.
identities, essentially.
Yeah, these soldiers gun these dudes down. It does nothing. Then they like blow them up, quote unquote, and we don't know what happens.